Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Site. Today I have the beast mode himself, Dustin Howard. We're going to be talking a little bit about Bayou Battles, where Dustin took it down. So, Dustin, welcome to the channel. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's jump into. So, who is Dustin Howard? For those
Well,
that
you and me.
may not know,
Well,
the few.
if you're hiding under a rock, you might not know. Not to try to sound so vainglorious. I'm out of the South region, which is Texas, pretty much mostly Texas. I've pretty much ran rampant out here since getting out of the army. Won every single award except for last place, at least once. Even have one sports trophy, which is probably my pride and joy. I've gotten second Paragon multiple times at Masters, and I've gotten best Paragon once at Masters. The only one I almost won it a second time, but my own clubmate beat me out of it for a commissioned army he got, old Radigan. So,
Oh, that's
other
right.
than
I remember.
yeah, yeah, and he won't let me live that down. Other than that, I tend to play a lot of armies. I paint armies quickly. I learned how to paint out of spite. So, I've run almost everything. I've taken everything. I've probably won with over half of the armies that they have throughout the various Texas GTs, which we have strange. We have a very good competitive meta out here, and which I'm glad to be a part of. I've never qualified for Masters, and I think I've been the number one seed in our region every year since we swapped to Kings of War.
Well,
So, if my memory
I'm
serves me correctly.
I'm gonna leave any Texans that might actually be watching to correct that in the comments if that was by chance incorrect. But I
I'll
believe
let
you.
Tom my yeah, I'll let my lawyer Tom field those questions.
There we go. There we go. I mean, if I'm being honest, you're the guy from the South that I don't want to see across the table if I'm playing. So that's number one seed in my mind.
Well, that's a quite an honor playing coming from you, man. We've had some really good games, you and I. You and your partner, Travis, have always been good games.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you're keeping track, but my record against you is on the losing end for me. So you definitely have the upper hand in the head-to-head matchups. So
Well, it's like, hey, I always say it's better to be lucky than good.
I think the one mat or the Paragon Award that you were talking about. I think that was the first time we played. It was it the Chicago
It,
one where you finished first,
it's
right?
combo with EOD, and
Yep.
I will still say EOD is probably my favorite army, which I know you had your successful run with them too.
Oh yeah.
And I think they'll take a back burner until they fix them in this
Yeah,
edition.
yeah. Now you were a big inspiration why I actually picked up EOD right at the beginning of third because you and I had played at the later part of second, and
Yeah,
I played against a couple other people, and I really liked some of the mechanics that they had. And it was a lot different from Elves, which was what I was playing at that point. So I wanted
yeah.
to kind of jump into something completely new. So
And yeah, you jumped in it well too. Your style was quite different than mine, and you still dominated with it. And to tell you the truth, getting people away from elves is always a good thing. That means I'm doing my job.
well, I always go back once in a while to renew my elf card. They have a
Yeah.
membership program, and
Oh,
uh, so the Jason Burrs, the Keith Randalls, they
yeah.
ask you
Hey,
when did you
Keith.
play elves last to actually be able to consider yourself an elf player. So,
Well, y'all three are some of the good ones. I'll say that much.
oh, I
Uh,
appreciate
I've had ever since fantasy and probably Lord of the Rings, and as a kid, I just couldn't stand elves.
it. Fair
But
enough.
that's
Fair
just
enough.
I think that's just because I'm stubborn and
You
I'm built like a giant dwarf. So maybe that's
there
why.
you go. I was gonna say you're a little bit more humble than the average elf. So.
Oh, I'm glad you said it, not me.
All right. Well, we're here because you recently won Bayou Battles out of what is it, Houston?
Yes, sir.
So tell us a little bit about the event. I think it's Rick Hoy that runs it, one of your club mates. Is that right?
Yeah, so Rick, I've known Rick for years. He started playing with me about 3.5 years ago, and biggest. biggest, I guess you'd say, compliment to me is everyone who played him back then. Now they're like, man, he is the hardest person to play against. He's gotten so good. Uh, and then he runs this. He's run Bayou the entire time I've been at Kings. And a couple years ago, I'll lie if I tell you the exact date. He swapped it to a soccer format where you have like the brackets break down like FIFA, where you have two different bracket systems, which is actually taken off. People really like it in our region because how it gets paired up. You can play your game Friday night. You know who you're playing ahead of time. So heck, we've had several different brackets where you can go undefeated and still like. Well, I think last 3 years I went undefeated, but I didn't win it the last two because the other person had bigger wins. And this past year, they also have soccer players, which they're famous. I don't follow much sports other than powerlifting and strongman, so I can't give you their names. But each one has specific. They're not really overpowered. They're usually like your standard teamsman hero with a little bit more flair. So each one has like this year we did orders. So I had a character with order of death on a 5 up on 2 dice. I got cloak of death.
Okay.
The other one is it could give a vicious to a unit, just straight vicious, and then it came with lightning bolt 3. So I use that one to supplement my shooting that the internet blew up upon
Hmm.
after I took this one.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into that list in just a moment. So just
Yeah.
so I understand, so you're split up into like pools. So you have
Yeah.
three other people in your pool, and you do a round robin of that particular pool. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, and he randomly pulled it. So like the first one, he takes the people who are in the already qualified for masters. So
Hmm.
they would be in each group, and then he takes all the locals, which makes it so the locals shouldn't have to play each other or like groups. He divided into groups like the Dallas people, the Austin people, which usually means no one has to play people they normally play. And that's
Yeah.
why a lot of people like it. Um, this year, unfortunately, we had so many. Our little group has grown so much out of the Struggle Shack that one of them had to be in my group. So they called that one the choice of death because the guy who ended up getting in our group, who I'd play round one, is the one who's pretty much my little apprentice. So he was like, "Oh, great." He could win, but the matchups allow you to lose one in that first group stage. If you win your next two, though, you go into the Masters bracket,
Yeah.
the Masters, the World Champions bracket, and then the Champions bracket's when you actually start scoring battle points.
Okay. So pool play, the top two of each pool go into the top bracket, the bottom two go into the other bracket, and then you play your tournament from there. So how many games is it total? Is it six?
It's 6 games total, three
Okay.
and three. So three in the pairing stage and three in the championship bracket.
Very cool. But you said the battle points you score in the pool don't count towards the final score. It's just to seed you into that.
Yeah, unless you get like a perfect score, and that literally just allows you to be on a. You get to pick which table side on get your first game in your championship bracket.
Okay, very cool. So some really fun, different things that I definitely haven't experienced that from any other events. So that's very cool to see. How many players did you guys get this year?
I can't. It was third. I think it was 32, but I could be wrong. I have to look at the. I have to look. It's been a month. I erase all my memories after I get done. So
That's
I'd have to double check. I thought it was 30 something, but I could be wrong.
okay. That's pretty decent number, and I think this was the first one for fourth edition you guys have had. Is that right?
I think it was one of the first in the country that had four. Garbage. I know another
Yeah.
tournament had one. I think the weekend after us. That's
Yeah, I
so.
know Dead of Winter happened, which I had an interview with Corey and Keith
Yeah.
from that one. I can't remember. I think you're right. I think they happened just after this one, but due to scheduling with you and I, we haven't gotten around to this recording until after that. So
Yeah.
um,
Unfortunately, I have a horrible schedule usually.
it's all good. I'm just glad we were able to have this talk, sit down. So
Agreed. Agreed.
awesome. So really fun, unique event, mixes up kind of the whole process of the event, and you get a special character. So let's dive into your list a little bit. I'm gonna throw it up on the screen for everybody. I'm gonna let you kind of run it down real quick, okay?
Okay, I could break it down for you. I'll run all my unlocks and then I'll tell you what I unlocked because it's pretty easy for me to do it that way.
Okay.
So I'll start with it's two battalions of Prime Arms. The title of this was "Slippery When Wet" after the Bon Jovi album, and I made it so it was there was eight for unlocks, eight regiments of River Guard, all with the javelin upgrade, four Leviathan's Banes. I needed that for the two battalions. For the characters, I took Ector, mostly for his Wind Blast. They I could get into why I made these choices later. But
Sure.
then I took three Aqua Mages, one with Blizzard 4. It's phenomenal spell. Alchemist Curse 4, why not? And then I took took Blood Boil with Banner of the Griffin so I could have enough command dice. So I had a total of 10 command dice that I was able to access, technically. And ironically, I outdropped most people as well with this list because you also had the soccer character, which would gave me that Cloak of Death, that Vicious, or Lightning Bolt 3.
Yeah. And a big call out is the total points was 2250 for this
Yes,
one
yes,
as well.
that's right.
So
Yes,
yeah, so
but I
16
couldn't.
drops at that point value is a hell of a lot.
And I couldn't convince him to. See, Rick resists my opinions because he doesn't want me manipulating it. 'Cause I want big points. I want like 2,500 all times or 3,000. But he kept it at 2,250. So I threatened him that if they play under 2,250, I'll play goblins. So that's the reason they don't have low points in the shop.
Yeah, nobody wants that. Oh God,
No, no,
I've
no.
I've experienced the
That's my no
goblin
no list.
pain for many years. I don't need I don't need Super Beast to be
Yeah,
doing it either.
yeah, I think that, yeah, yeah, I know you know it firsthand. You've had many a taste of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, anymore it turns into we won't even put models on a table anymore. We'll be like, okay, so what are you gonna do in this scenario? I'll be like, well, Trav will be like, well, I'm gonna deploy this way, do this, do that, and I'm like, okay, so what if I do this? And he's like, well, you lost already. Then I'm like, wow. So we just
That,
break the
that
game down by talking about it at this point.
that sounds like me and Radigan when he comes up to the shack. When me and him play at the shack, we'll get maybe two actual games in, but we'll do like 20 theoretical games in a row.
Yep. Yeah.
Where we just roll something out and we're playing both sides of each army together, which is kind of fun.
Oh yeah, and I think that's a very high level thing. Once you get to that point, and I think
Yeah.
it's one of the only things you can do as a collaboration. It's really tough to
Yes.
do it just like individually and actually
Agree.
learn
Agree.
from it, right? You need another
Yes.
person to really bounce those ideas off of, point out the errors, the potential mistakes or the potential issues with your game plan, and yeah, you can like Travis and I don't think we've played an actual game against each other in years, but the way we've talked about games is, you know,
That's
uh,
that's I well, that's
it's
the same thing with me
intense.
and Bryce. Yeah, me and Bryce do the exact same thing. I talk to him about it. We pretty much talk through a game a couple times a week.
Hmm.
And like you said, once you have that person who also knows how you play, but also plays differently themselves, like for me and Radigan, we have completely different approaches to the game. And because of that, like when we prep for Masters for him, usually when like I couldn't go the time they had it in the Mid Atlantic, oh,
Yeah,
we were able to practice it. I played the list so different than he had thought it was going to be played. So by doing that, he sees it played a different way. So if they pretty much try anything off the wall, he's already seen it, which is
that
helpful. That's having a partner like that really helps.
yeah, for sure. It's amazing if you go into a game, especially when you have first round matchups a week or two
Of
out,
course,
right? And you know what you're playing and who you're playing against. And it's amazing going into a game and in those couple weeks having prepped enough that you actually know the army better than your opponent sometimes.
yeah,
And you
yeah, that's having
realize
fun.
when they make a mistake in deployment and you're just like, I've won the game. Like I know like you can't do that against me in this scenario. Like I've already played this, so it, it it's
Very much
uh
so.
it's fun to have that level of competence when it comes to the matchups and everything too. So
Agree.
But
Okay, we can't preach that enough.
right. But fourth edition obviously shakes a bunch of things up. So not that everything in third edition isn't able to be carried over for us when it comes to strategies and things like that. But
Yeah.
I know your practice style, and I'm sure a lot of people don't quite know how intense you get. But how many games have you grinded a fourth edition since it dropped? What, 2.5 months ago now?
I think I'm about 43 games, actual
Yeah.
games, not including like talk our verbal sparring, like our our
Uh-huh.
mental sparring we do. It's I think it's 43 actual dice roll games.
And those are
And
in person because I know you don't really do UB. I know we've tried to sync up occasionally, but you're an in person guy.
I'm a very well, I see it as a skill. And I notice like fatigue is a thing for people. I don't have that problem. When
Oh,
I'll play so I've gotten 7 games in one day before. And
jeez.
with Steven House, like with him.
Hmm.
And I've noticed people like I still the only person I universal battle with is Bryce, and that's because we were roommates in the army and he lives on Tennessee. I live in Texas. But he's the only one I UB with, but I also paint the whole time he's doing it, or so it's mostly him talking about his movements. And then when I start it, because with UB, I notice people will zoom in and they take
Hmm.
too long. And I'm like this, hey, did you mean to leave this in? And he says, oh, I totally forgot about it. That's fine. But if he was like this corner's in, me and him, well, you're one of the highest level players in the world. When you
Hmm.
play against other high level players, it's almost all intention. So
Oh
like when I
yeah.
play against that again, I was like, if you're cheating, you're screwing yourself. You're not helping.
Yeah, I
So,
know. Like
yeah,
our games,
yeah,
it definitely is always, hey, I'm putting this here. You can't charge me because of that. Like we call it
yeah,
out. On if it was my turn of movement and I don't want you doing something, I'm calling it out on my turn. When it goes to your turn, if it ever comes up as a question, it's like, remember we talked about this already. And if
and
it
that, and
if it was
yep,
something overlooked, then it's there. It's
yep,
there. That happens. But
yep. I've noticed with like top tables, I've never had a rules argue. Like that's the beautiful part of Kings is we both play top tables everywhere and never had any issues. The only time I've ever had rules issues was someone who didn't know the game. I'm like, dude, you're gonna have to, I was like, no, you can't
yeah.
do this. It's on this page. And then instead them looking it up and they go, oh, I'm like, that's about it. With Kings, especially, I guess, with my background, I articulate everything. Like, hey, your movement's 8. Give me 16 inches. My intention is to stay this out.
Yep.
And you never have any arguments, which is great. It makes the games fly by. They're low stress. And if you're playing a competent person, it's a thinking match anyways. So like every
It
time I play
is.
you, Travis, or like Radigan, Bryce, etc.
Hmm. Yeah, it's great when both players know exactly the intent of the other person's,
Yeah,
and you just, like you said, it becomes a strategy game actually, and not a somebody made a mistake or we caught you on a rules technicality. It is dice rolls are going to be what they are, but
yeah,
actual movement and strategy, it's may the best man win. So.
yeah. That's the reason I don't like gotcha moments, and that's Kings has got a lot less gotcha moments than any other game you play.
Yes, I agree. So let's talk a little bit about your tournament run. So we know you had the three pool games and then the three games on day two for seeding once you get into the Masters bracket here. So was there any certain matchups, or do you want to just kind of describe how this list worked in general? It is something that I think people may initially have an idea of how it works, but until you actually see it played, I have a feeling that um, some people may not be aware of its full potential. So you want to, describe a little
Of
bit
course,
for us?
of course. You hit the nail on the head. I'll explain. First of all, almost no one got it right. When I see people's comments online about what made it good, that's driving me nuts. But you and Travis, y'all understand the whole principle of it. It's a mechanical issue. So I made this list to prove a point. Uh, as you know, I'm very proud of my region that we do so well. And I noticed that people in my region were saying, "Well, shooting's dead," and they're like, they had no respect for shooting. I was like, "Yeah, shooting's probably mechanically better than it's ever been." And and y'all are gonna get caught off guard at Masters. So I was like, well, I'm gonna take shooting. Okay.
Yep.
And then I saw some snarky person from England post that no one will paint that army quickly or paint that army. And one of two people there had rich spam because they wanted, they saw the same post and they said, we'll paint this army. So two people ran rich spam. I said, I
Yep.
painted this army in 13 days just to prove I could. And I tied for highest paint as well. So
Yeah, and I'm
which
looking at the players' choice votes as well. You were one away from the top players' choice also. Ryan Smith took it down, it looks like, and Ryan Smith
yeah,
also had best paint, or
yep,
best sport. I
and,
apologize.
and I voted for him for player's choice.
There you go.
'Cause
So
yeah, so I was like, because I love Ryan's armies. I just he does things that I can't do.
yeah,
I could
I,
paint, but I can't. Like, some of his stuff is just art. It's pure art.
yeah.
Um,
I will
as
say
far
that
as
the South, just a shout out to the entire South. I would say that as a region, the South I think has the most overall, like across the board, most gorgeous armies. You guys obviously have some players that are at the top of the tops, but like the even the average in South events is well above the average in every other region in the U.S. And yeah, you guys just do an amazing job, and it really I think shows that you all are pushing each other to be better in that aspect too. So
and on behalf of the South, I thank you because they really do work. Because paint takes. I was not a natural painter. I learned through grit, and two of my club mates have went from like Tristan went from like second to last at Lone Wolf, and then that following Alamo, he got second best paint. I'm very proud of that.
nice.
And then same with Rick. Rick was a normal painter, and all of a sudden he's getting. I don't know if you saw it's Undead last year. He got really high paint scores pretty
Oh,
much ever since.
I played against his undead at the doubles event, naughty or
Yeah,
nice. So
yeah.
um,
So what did you think? It was painted well,
it,
wasn't it?
it was. I mean, it was a gorgeous. It's a gorgeous army because they took like four dragons in that list too. Like,
Hey,
when you're
you,
taking that many centerpieces, it looks awesome. So
I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty guilty of that one. I was saying, why don't you push up the dragons on that one?
yep, there you go.
So, but I'm
But
like,
anyway,
you get four dragons. They're like,
let
really? I was like, yeah, you get four dragons. You should take four
absolutely
dragons.
they
So,
did. So
I
let's
know
get
I'm
back
proud.
to breaking down that Trident Realm list. So people said you couldn't do it, so you're doing it. But how did
Yeah.
it work? Like mechanically, how are you picking people apart with this?
Okay. Okay. So, in essence of it, it's everyone looks on paper of the shooting being on fours, and you halt, you hit on threes. I can honestly tell you that hurt me more often than not. I could have just moved and got out of their charge range anyways. The biggest thing, it'd be the cumulative factor of what changes they made. The change to cover, moving into it and shooting,
Hmm.
is really big. The fact that you could line of sight to any part of your base, not the cover part, but just the being able to see you,
Yep.
is huge. I was able to see one part, like 2 millimeters of my corner of my base, could see them, but they can't see me come out of arc. I could dance those lines a lot quicker, and so I could just make it so you'll never see me. And then because I was speed 7 fly in Pathfinder, I was able to just go over buildings, stay out of arcs until I decided to engage. And now the changes to, like I said, as long as my center point's in a forest, I got cover, and you don't, because there's no penalty for moving in a forest. So that
Yep.
allowed me to literally line it up. I could put 4 regiments into a forest easily, and with Leaper, I could still shoot. Um, Most of the time, I did not like. A lot of people thought I'd be worried about shooting. The rat list I fought outshot me. I actually was outshot by several, but the thing is, they couldn't move and shoot, and I also had so many drops. I was able to pick and choose what I wanted. Then with the Leviathan's Banes, because I could pull you towards me, it's
Mhm.
not an enthrall, so I don't care about tokens. Even though it never came up, I could pull you towards me. I had the orders, the blizzard to freeze something, the Ector to push something back, which was expensive, but I was able to push, pull, and I would shoot things till they wavered because if you don't have headstrong, I could just pin you down, and that's what happened in certain games. They would play with chaff like you would in third, but I would shoot them right under their devastating amount. and then I would
Yep.
just leave it alone. I was like, okay, as long as they don't roll double ones, you're stuck behind your unit. And then it gives me a free round of shooting something else. And I pretty much bullied things, which it's kind of a tactic you use with the fast army. You don't engage unless you're ready to, you're going to kill it.
Mhm.
Which I hate that style of army, but I really wanted to prove a point. And
I was gonna say you're describing elves to a T right now, and I know you didn't want to be an elf player, but
oh,
everything
I
you're
felt
saying is exactly what elves are doing.
I apologize to everyone I played, except for the ones who already knew me, like who played me a lot. But unfortunately, I played two people I've never played before who I like a lot and I respect them as players. And I should have said, I'm sorry. And I said, I don't want to see them cheated. But it was after like I already saw it on a map. Like they had nothing to deal with. Like I fought Northern Alliance and I was able to pull it, kill it. I shot all of its shooters. So then we're playing my game at that point.
Yeah.
I took the Alchemist Curse, obviously, because if you bum rush me with defense six, I have an answer for defense six.
Hmm.
The Wind Blast was also obviously if you bum rush me. The I played a Tree Man build, and I was able to kill 17 wounds to defense six turn one in one turn, and
Jesus.
that's not including the orders. Like I killed two Tree Men in one round. I played a one of my club mates runs a five tree herder list,
Yeah.
and
Well,
the
talk
Wolf
to me
Father and
about
four Tree Men.
talk to me about that order. Isn't there one that you wound on fours? It
Yeah,
does it work for
it,
your shooting attacks as well as the melees?
yeah. So the four they have some good orders, and that's also an issue. They have when it comes to orders, it goes on a 5 up. It's Aqua Venom, which allows you to wound on force regardless, shooting or melee.
Jeez.
The other order, which is phenomenal with when you come to shooting, obviously,
Hmm.
because if I fought against defense six, I use that. That's every time I played them,
Yeah.
and I don't have any issues. After that, you wouldn't have any. You had a vicious melee only, which is fine, but you're rarely using this list. The
Hmm.
Barskin, I didn't have any sea monsters, so I couldn't use it. But the other one was the heal, and I would heal a decent bit because I remember I have 10 command dice in this list. So,
Oh,
which is the band of command. That allowed me, I was able to heal so I could plink damage other shooters if they can't overwhelm me.
right.
And then obviously the tree leapers having retreat means okay, there's no longer disordered. I can just keep falling back and shooting you.
Yeah. The
And
faint on them is that what you were saying?
w- uh,
Faint.
yeah, yeah, they're
Yeah.
being able to do that is huge. And then the the aqua mages, they have individual stealthy. So it's like so I was like put them in a wood and they change the magic missiles. They can't get hit. So I'm like okay. If you try counter shooting me with your an elf blizzard caster, you're hitting me if you sit still on, individual and
Sixes.
stealthy and wood sixes, and
Yeah.
I'm hitting you on threes or sorry, fours because you're individual.
Yeah.
So we'll just and that happened to Devlin when we played, which I feel really bad about because unfortunately with him, every time I take a shooting list, he gets paired up against me. So it's sad, but it happened a lot.
Yeah. Well,
Then
yeah.
yeah, but
This
the
list is
list
nasty.
itself. Oh, it's very nasty, and it's very flexible. It's not really worried about any mission really. Dominate versus certain lists could be rough, but uh, the armies I fought were orcs. I didn't have an issue with because I just didn't let them hit things. The rat list they had a lot of shooting. They were able to kill a lot.
Hmm.
Devlin was able to get that headstrong order off, and his archers just nuked a unit, but he killed I think. It's been a couple weeks. I think he killed 2 units. He might have killed 3. But I think the record against me was like 3 units died. That's it. So
Out
it's
of
the
the
list.
eight regiments that you took.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what tells you it's pretty bad. Um, and I had enough reps with it that I was real competent with it. I played it differently every game, so they couldn't figure out like what I was going to do. The River Guard would be dead drop because they're fast, they're speed 7, fly, and Pathfinder, so I can easily get away from people or readapt. And heck, I don't know how many games with 3 of them and the blood boil, I'm all moving, so not even doing the 3 up to shoot, I killed off a wretched horde like nothing. I did the same thing with a warrior horde, as a rat warrior horde,
Yeah.
and, it's like because a lot of those lists are relying on, withdrawing and going through. I said, "I'm not gonna allow you to withdraw and go get tokens or whatnot. I'm just gonna either shoot till you waver or shoot till you die."
Yep.
And I think you're gonna see more of that, if they don't fix, I think they physically can't without rewriting all the rules. So I think you're gonna see more and more of that until they go through all the armies.
Well, let's address the elephant in the room. That list that you have isn't going to be viable once this update comes out sometime in February, right? Um,
Of course,
the the points value that they're adding to those javelins is something ridiculous, like 50 or 60 points per unit.
you will never see that unit again. And what's sad is it's actually one of Mantic's better looking models. As always, I think it was a knee jerk, but that's my opinion. If you wanted to curb people taking it, easy, you still raise the cost. You could restrict it to 2, or even just put auxiliary keyword on it. If you made it an auxiliary, it can unlock, and then it's like, okay, you add 20 points. All right, you can't. It's the culmination of all the other factors that made them good. Because if they're just 50, normal stat on stat, you could avoid them, shoot them with longer range. It's the spell moving and the Leviathan Banes that really seal the fate and really benefit them. So over 200 points, you'll never see someone take them unless it's just your normal like guy who really wants to fill that painted unit. But and no, and no one will feel that at that point. It's too expensive.
Yeah. So competitively, they're in the D tier now, huh? The dog shit.
Oh, well, if yeah, if they yes, but it doesn't like you're just. I'm just gonna have to move along. I won't be doing this for Lone Wolf, but nothing's off the table for Masters.
Yeah.
You have other units that shoot just as good, if not better, that are available to lots of armies. I'm like, I just picked that one because it's the one I could paint the fastest. So,
Yeah.
and I was like, I had access to it already. But everyone else, it's like, okay, if I wanted to do this one, I could get the models, paint that. I think at Lone Wolf, you'll see which is the next big tournament I'm attending, is I think you'll see a rise in people starting to mimic that mechanics of that shooting list, withdrawing, moving, the range being longer when you pivot. So I think I'm gonna open Pandora's box in our region apparently, and I think we'll see if it nationwide. I have no idea the other lists being ran outside of Texas right now because I think y'all's next big one's Adepticon, right?
Yeah, that's going to be in Milwaukee, so it's kind of a
Yeah.
cross region for us mountain and
Yeah.
into the Midwest folks. So that'll be end of March, which anybody interested, signups are still open, so get on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're kind of talking about it already, but let's dive into a little bit of just in general fourth edition. What are your takeaways? Is there things that came out of fourth that you're like, man, I really like this. I think this was an excellent choice as far as adjustments go.
I have kind of a milk toast opinion of fourth. Uh, I feel like it's more second part two than anything like third was or 3.5. It feels like more of a continuation of when we did version two, which is they had brought back things that I don't hate, but they did bring like I don't despise the withdrawal rule. They need to fix it for tokens.
Yeah,
I think you could do some broken things with tokens.
yeah,
But as a whole, I preferred 3.5. They kinda the things that you and y'all added, uh, it's from gameplay and user experience. It feels like this one was made by people who don't play the game, and that's
yeah,
what bothers me because like, I miss they added the thunder charge off the hills. I love that rule. That was one of my favorite
yes,
rules, and they added that after historicals. Historicals was the first one that brought that, right? And,
hmm
I love that. It was phenomenal. Losing that was kinda painful. Also, I don't like the limit 2 per facing at all. Because okay, like, I'm a grind player, so I benefit from two facing. So I'm okay with it. It's benefit me, but as a whole, it kind of limits you a little bit. Um, I like the cover changes with the move with your leader point. It's a lot easier. You won't have arguments on it, which I like. But phalanx, they ruined phalanx, and they pretty much ruined phalanx and hindered. Uh,
Yeah.
that's all. Yeah, because I believe it was that's how it was in second edition with hindered, and that's why you never saw cavalry
Yeah,
except for
uh,
one.
it wasn't until one of the later updates of second edition that they made it to where you only lose one thunderous charge.
Yeah,
I do remember it being, I think, at the last Clash of Kings before third edition dropped that they updated that rule, and it was definitely a big benefit. Um, because yeah, I mean,
yes, I agree.
the cavalry that we have right now, like I do in general like the idea of giving them Thunderous 3. Like I think
Yeah,
that's fun. That's nice. That's makes cavalry much better, especially when most cav are getting, a couple extra attacks now too. They're going to the
I
18
like that.
attack
Yeah,
profile. But then when you consider as soon as they touch any piece of terrain, they lose everything. It's like, well, now we're back to square one, where I think that rule in itself made those other two beneficial rules kind of null and void in a lot of ways. So I think you're going to see a
I
lot
agree.
of one cav units with J boots, which is honestly something you saw in second already or third edition already. Um, so I think we could have seen more cav focused armies if there was more universal use of the rules and the terrain one especially, as
Yeah,
well as the
exactly.
hill one because the cav off a hill they Thunder 4 for cav. I think they would love it.
So,
So
oh, I ran my dogs relentlessly with just hills, and I preferred fast things that were on the ground like knuckers for years, and preferred them over flyers for just that one reason. Plus, it just I can add that into the factor that into a flyer bragging rights in my region.
that's
So,
true.
but that was those are two. The phalanx only affecting cavalry, flyers, and large calf too makes no sense to me because now your infantry with thunder, which there are quite a bit of large infantry and infantry with thunder, and that's enough to make it like, wow, phalanx and phalanx doesn't work on the subsequent rounds, which I don't like
Yeah,
either. I was like,
that
so like, as a guy who we both ran skeleton spearmen, so I was like, it kind of it kind of is a bummer for us, but
yeah. No, I
mechanically,
agree.
yeah,
The secondary rounds I think is the biggest thing for me. I'm actually
yeah,
okay with the infantry and the non-cavalry units not losing Thunderous, mainly because I think a lot of those units were already in more of a struggling place. Like Thunderous Charge in general, as a rule, is just something usually people avoid because if
yeah,
you have option for Crushing Strength, you take Crushing Strength, right?
100%.
So I don't hate that, but the phalanx is definitely something that should, it's just not going to get played. I think at this point.
Yeah,
They,
the only
uh,
units I see doing well with it is ceremonial guard and placoderms. You can make an argument for dogs of war, but that's an
sure,
expensive unit at that point.
yeah. Well, I mean,
And spear
ceremonial
wardens.
guard aren't cheap either. So
Oh no, but spear wardens, the new dog unit. You could argue that one because they have every special rule under speed 7. So it's like,
yeah,
okay. The only thing faster than them is gonna be a flyer or cavalry. So it's like your only counter you're gonna work against.
yeah,
So,
that's fair.
but that's also the new army syndrome. So
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, yeah, the units you listed off though, the ceremonial guard, the placoderm, like ceremonial guard hordes, they're trying to be defense 6, right? The
yeah,
placoderms are already defense 6, so they don't really care if
mhm,
the phalanx does or doesn't work anyway. The
no,
attacks and the other things are what people are usually going
yeah,
for off of those units. So,
yeah. And
but
that's
yeah,
the thing is plus platinums are cheaper than they used to be.
hmm
Uh, the I
and
will say
and they're
rules
core
wise,
units too, right? Like
yeah,
those ones are core. The ceremonial guard you got to take a certain character, but they can be
yeah,
core. So.
very more. I will say rules wise, the one that kind of irks me, and I took advantage of it, was I don't understand magic missiles getting the +1 to hit. Like obviously I abused it, and it's easily abused. So it's like it's kind of a no brainer now that if you're running any any shooting based army, why aren't you taking Blizzard 4? Why aren't you taking Alchemist Curse? Or
I,
Blood Boil?
I'll be honest. I'm in a couple group chats, and one it was called out just this weekend here. Somebody was saying, "I love how the all melee army still added Blizzard 4 to their list." It's like,
It
yeah,
yeah.
it
Yep.
makes sense to me. Like, I don't understand why we have Blizzard 4 in the first place. Like 3 was as high as it was last edition, but then yeah, like you deploy your Blizzard Wizard and he just stands there for the rest of the game and shoots. Like, eh,
I found a place for him to set. If there's no counter shooting, he's on the hill and he was just sitting there dominating the whole game.
yep, yep,
Uh,
absolutely.
and there's certain changes like that. It made no sense to me. But I still enjoy fourth. Like when it
Hmm.
comes to like gaming, like as a grind player, it's easier for me to teach people charges, movements. I like the extra pivots. I love the extra pivots, but that's because I play grind. So the extra
Yep.
pivots are really good. It makes my new guys all really like it. So it's really easy for me to sell. Now the list, I'm on the exact opposite fence. I don't like anything about the list creation, but
Mm.
that might get me banned from Discord and fanatics. But it's kind of I don't know what they were doing with the list. It feels like a beta testing list.
Yeah, well, I hope you don't get banned because I think I'm kind of right there with you with my opinions that I've given, and I think a lot of other people have given similar opinions. But really hope that these books they're coming out with every 6 months update enough stuff and make the list better off. Um, but yeah,
6 months.
is it the lists or is it the new like army construction rules? Like, or do you think it's a combination? Like, what? Talk to me about the construction a little bit.
I think it has to be a combination of both of those facts. Like I don't think this is. I've ironically the only people I have noticed issues with this edition are most of the senior guys and the good players in the region. Motivation's down from all the guys who are good at second and third. I've noticed that quite commonly, and
Hmm.
most of them are not motivated. They're not enthused, but they're also, which I get it, man. It wants to sell models, but these are the guys who build the communities too. Each one of those guys usually brings 5 to 10 players to the store. Like, look, like same with my group. If I didn't play, I don't want to be wrangling them in our little region. Um, the list, I do not like two things that they did, and this really bothers me. Invalidation of units. I have armies that are now, and you've played me enough. I have a ton of armies, and a lot of them have been invalidated, or just the unit's been removed altogether, or now it's a support. Like my old ice list that I created right when ice came out, like I have no core in that list other than snow foxes, and so I'd have to paint an entirely new army, which is no problem, but it's kind of demoralizing when you have these armies like one of our regions, Jesse, who we all know and love. He just painted his best painted army was like the Bloodworm legions. Like no longer
Yep.
could use them. And I
Yeah.
had one. I have several armies like that where I took a lot of time. I have multiple EOD chariot legions. Can't use them anymore. And
Yeah.
it's kind of disheartening because you don't know what they're going to validate next. I have about 10 units of Longhorns, and I imagine that they're going to probably nerf them, like kill them off soon. So I was like,
Really.
I'm like, okay, well they're going to kill, yeah, they'll kill another army, and I'll have to run those as orcs or something. So because they're
Well,
based on a 125 by 100.
I haven't heard anything, but honestly, I assume that you've actually played the Longhorns and the herd version of the Force of Nature list, but
Yeah.
I actually gave it a test run once in play testing, and I have seen other people, and I actually like the army and the list a lot, and I think it like Nature is one of the armies that is sitting in the best place right now, in my opinion,
Oh,
as far
agreed.
as
Agreed.
diversity of play. I think Nature and Trident Realms are
Nope.
probably the top two of diversity.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like I played several different Force of Nature lists at myself, and all of them are drastically different.
Hmm.
Trident Realms drastically different, same way. Then I go to my other list. I'm like, well, there's one way I'm building it, and
Hmm.
I've helped a couple guys. Um, like for instance, I actually like goblins in this edition, but it's mostly because I enjoy the. One, you could do it the Travis style with cheap
Hmm.
shooters, which are better than ever, and you have cheap casters. But then the second one is wow, like I really like that leaper order on trolls or cav.
Yeah.
Like I
Get to
really
look
like that
over a
order.
hill is a big
Yeah,
deal.
I know.
You
Yeah,
know.
you have yourself some air elementals pretty much out of that, and I like that. Like those things I do enjoy, but how they made core, yeah, how they made the list that you have to unlock. Not all core is the same either. Like you have some core that's hyper efficient, some that's good in the game, some that are like cheap dead open unlocks, which I like as well.
Yeah.
And then another list, it's a tax, it's a burden, if you will.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't like for instance, why does undead not have a caster warlord? Really, that bothers me. As a guy who took undead, but
Yeah.
I used to take this, all shambling undead. So now I'm like, okay, I'm stuck with nothing but
Yeah.
necros within army standard bearers. Like, I don't like
Y-
that being forced.
Undead used to have a caster. Ah, gosh, what was his
Yeah,
name? Wasn't the army
yeah,
like? Wasn't he like on the cover of one of the books or something like that at
yeah,
one point? Gosh,
yeah. I
I
think
can't seem to remember who he was. Oh well, he's dead
it,
now. So
yeah, it's not like he was like everyone's favorite in the lore too. I'm like,
yeah.
so yeah,
So
but yeah,
I don't know. I
that's
wonder if they're gonna if that was intentional and they're gonna bring him back, or if like they're gonna have any sort of lore reasons. Like they really haven't been very clear on what the game plan is, or why some of these things are gone. They've made innuendos or hints around like they're gonna update armies, and when they update armies, certain things are going to be added or be there. Um, but it almost feels like they in some ways it almost feels like they took something away and then when they give it back we're supposed to be excited.
yeah, and I like yourself. I've been gaming for well over 20 years. Heck, man, I think it's been like 25 years or 26 years. I never liked that motto. It's when we take something away and they give it back and repackage it. I've never enjoyed that. And the biggest one is I can understand like us, we have multiple armies. We will adapt. I feel really bad because I have some guys they have one army and it took them a year to paint it. And now
Hmm.
that they literally saw this change and like I have nothing I can play. So I'm having to let them borrow armies. And I told them I was like, hey, I'll help you paint. Just from the organizational change, which that annoys me that I have some gamers who don't even go to tournaments, but they like to play locally, but they're hurting more than us tournament players because we can adapt. Like I'm willing to paint a new army,
Yeah.
um, and
Yeah, I think.
that's the part that makes me sad. It's if under the guise of being more helpful to new players, you're actually hurting new player like people who are came in at the tail of second, right? I mean the tail of third. You're
Mhm.
kind of hurting them, and then you're forcing you already said you're going to get rid of units. So when you have a history of getting rid of units, what's the point of putting effort into this? You know?
That's fair. And, there's 3 months in, there's going to be an update, and some
Yeah.
units, like we said, may not be playable or as efficient. And then I think around June or July, there's supposed to be a new book out with 3 or 4 armies that get updated. And we'll see exactly what that looks like, but there's still a lot of uncertainty, I think, when it comes to the whole process of fourth. In third edition, we knew every year we're getting a Clash of Kings update, and we have exactly what's in that for an entire year, unless there's something completely egregious or there were,
Yeah.
mistakes. Then those things got FAQ'd or errated. But those were few and far between, I would say, in the
Well,
history of it.
great.
So,
Well, I like the year, and I also like that every army got a little bit of something. Like
yes.
other games that do everyone gets a little bit, it feels better than one army because, like, I used to play fantasy, and with fantasy, I played dwarfs. Dwarfs are one of the ones that get the last update before they killed it.
Hmm.
So I was like, same with like wood elves, right?
Yep.
They got updates right before they killed the game, And it's like we've been waiting for 15 years for updates, and then we finally
Right.
get one, and you change the rules. So whatever
Yeah.
the last book for Semantic is, are we going to fifth after that? And then if that's the case, it's going to really feel bad for people who have those armies
Yeah.
because Forgotten Realms, the new army, I can't even pronounce the name. The Carl, I can't say the name. The dogs,
X
salamander.
dogs. It's just X
Yeah,
dogs.
yeah. I've been calling them iCarlys for some reason. I don't know why. So, and all the guys laugh that I can. I'm the one who speaks multiple languages, and I can't say the name. So it's kind of funny.
I didn't know
Um,
this about you. What
yeah,
languages do you speak?
I dabble in Thai, and I know enough Spanish to do my job.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I can get. I've been to the border enough that I could walk around like certain towns and not have to speak any English.
Got
It's
it. Fair enough.
like Thailand when I went there. I was able to walk to the gym and back, and I could get a taxi, order food. But I sound like a 4-year-old, like a
Fair.
giant 4-year-old.
You can live on your own or survive on your own for a day though. That's
Yeah,
good enough in my book. So
that's about all I know. I knew enough German in college. I was able to speak it in high school and college, but I haven't done that in almost 20 years. I still read some German,
yeah.
but that's because I live in a part of Texas that was all German immigrants. So you
Okay.
have a lot of native German speakers out here.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
So
gonna I'm gonna throw up the result. I forgot I have the results from the what's it called from the tournament. I'm throwing it up for people to see here, but let's see if we can zoom in. And there's apologize, but obviously Dustin finished first. You can see kind of the some of the major names up there. Probably recognize quite a few of them up there. But it looks like you pretty much ran away with it. I can't see the exact overall score, but it looks like you were ahead by 10 points or more.
yeah,
Obviously, you were first in battle, or no, battle total. You were one behind Mike Grajeda, I guess. But
and I could tell you what it was. So last game was against Radigan. Radigan's smart. He underestimated that list too. I, I rolled. So we're allowed one tournament reroll,
okay.
and I rolled a double one, rerolled it into a one. I rolled 3 sets of double ones, and
Mm,
that keeps me out of maxing points on that game. And
okay.
so with Radigan, we already knew the results of it like after turn one. He already knew he was going to lose by one at least. So me and him, we play a lot. So it's kind of like you're playing Travis.
Yeah.
So we were kind of just going through them. I finished probably top, as in first one done. Either I was first or fourth one done. That's the worst I it took. That's the
Yeah.
only game that we didn't even finish that game. Me and Radigan, because we were BSing so much. But
Fair enough.
and that's because of it. But we played through pretty much turn 60 if I kill these things off. I kept double one in it. I'm like, okay, that keeps me about 6 point swing. Grajeda came back and he tabled his opponents. So
Yeah.
he had Minotaurs, in which the Guardian Brute Minotaurs are phenomenal.
Oh, they're
Um,
so good.
yeah, yeah, and what I found was strange is if you look at my sports, I got a first, I got second, I got 2/3, and I got a bad. Now the partner with the bad, I even told him, I was like, dude, it's a list. And he goes, yeah, that list was horrible. I was like,
Yeah.
you could do it all day. I won't be mad.
Yep.
Uh,
Fair
but
enough.
I was like, I think that Rick said, I think you're the only one who's ever had a first, second, third, 2/3, like all those good ones and one bad one. Like that's weird. And I was like, yeah, well, it's you and me played together. It's the same I always play. But after my game, they all had a bounce back where they end up tabling their next opponent. So I think
Hmm.
they helped them. We were doing like an actor. I always like doing an after action review kind of thing with my
Hmm.
opponents. And I guess they got that rub off and they were doing great. So
Yeah. You were
yeah,
the captain of their submarine. You just had to sink them a little bit to
yeah,
let them
yeah.
float later.
We're playing the captain. I was playing Admiral Nemo over there.
That's right.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
and then I mean, five players' choice vote, and Ryan Smith got six. The next closest was a three votes, and there's a couple twos in there as well. But yeah, I mean, clearly, I don't have pictures of your army, but clearly it wasn't just oh, look, it's a broken army. I'm taking some random proxies and putting it on the table. You obviously had one of the nicest armies at this event. So yeah, I think you're right when you said earlier, like the people on Fanatics that are saying, oh, these things aren't a problem because people won't take the time or paint it or do, only the worst of the worst will do this. But well, if somebody takes the time to paint something up and make it look excellent, and it just so happens to be a broken army too, does that change the justification
Yeah,
of why these things are broken in the first place? I think there's
exactly.
just some poor judgment out there that we're coming off of 3.5, and I've had several conversations with people, and really I've come down to understanding that we just had it so good with 3.5, with Kings of War in general over the past 5, 6, 7 years, that it's not that fourth edition is necessarily bad and like people are just bailing and jumping ship and not going to play ever again. It's just that when you have one of the best, if not the best, war games out there that you've played for so many years, and the community around it is as excellent as we all know it is. It's just a little tough to see when changes happen, and the game itself is we're hitting a reset, right? And there are
Yeah,
mistakes, and I expected there to be bumps in the road when it came to a new edition, but I think that we have a lot of work here to see if we can correct these mistakes and get back on the path to get to where we are proud to claim being the best war game again when it comes to fantasy war games. So
100% agreed. Like you couldn't have articulated it better. Like I honestly, I've played multiple game systems to a high level, and Kings when we made the swap in 2020, 2016 was our first season over here, and that was phenomenal. Like when we made that change, I didn't realize the GT experience could be that good. Fantasy was okay, it was fun, but like I look to hanging out with all the guys. Like no, you're never stressed. You're not worried about game. Like the Kings of War is the one community that the GT actually gets more people to want to come. Like people don't tend to go to the GT, don't come back. Like Kings, we've gotten guys with no games who literally came to one, like they played like one game before, come to the GT, and now they're hooked. They've been to every
right.
GT since. We have a lot in our region like that.
Absolutely. That's how we get people as well. It sounds like you do a lot better at the weekly game nights than I do in my region here. But if we can get somebody at our Bug Eater or one of our one days, and they see us hanging out, having a good time, after all the games are done, it reminds me much more of the DC Masters. I don't think you were able to make DC, were you? But
I've only missed two masters, and and I told them Labor Day I can't for work. I can't
yeah,
get off. And then the
I,
other one was the one y'all had in Memphis, and that's when I was working that weekend, and that
ah.
sucked because if they made it in San Antonio, because I know that they went down to the wire on if it was going to be in Memphis or San Antonio, and if it
Mm.
was San Antonio, I could have went. So I was like, man, I missed two because of that.
Missed out on it. Well,
Yeah,
so in DC, we're in a giant gaming hall, and there's AOS in there. There's Lord of the Rings fantasy game. They had, I think, the new one, the old world as well. Like, but so it's a convention hall basically, and after hours, like come 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, like, well, first off, we're like the first get group done with our games.
or
6 o'clock,
big time.
5 o'clock, somewhere in there. Everybody goes, gets dinner, or just hangs out, brings food in, and then we're there for the entire night. All of us.
Yeah,
The other games are getting over at 7 or 8 o'clock. They leave. They don't come back. There was a group of AOS guys. There was 5 guys, and we're all sitting around playing stupid games like the strike dice and whatnot. And
yeah,
one
yeah,
of
yeah,
those 5 guys from AOS came over and was like, "What are you guys playing? Like, it looks like you're having fun. Can I join you guys?" We get him in. he plays with them. He's like, this is awesome. Like, screw those guys. Like, it's his buddies that he's there with. But there was only a small group of one other game system that was there, and everybody else disperses. And I remember this vividly in fantasy days, where I would go down, with Travis and my group of guys to a tournament. We would play our tournament games, and we would interact with some of the people we knew or saw from the other events. But as soon as our games are over, we go back to our hotel room or we get food and we all group in our own group again. Kings of War
Agreed.
is so much different, and it really
No,
opened up a whole new world when it came to events, especially. So,
it's a highlight of Masters is the highlight of my year when it comes to gaming, and
oh, it's
it's
so good.
because I get to see people like you, Travis, people I don't get to see that often. The West Coast guys, which I like a lot. I'm friends with most of the guys in the region who qualify every year,
Hmm.
and I've met a
It,
lot of people who I really enjoy hanging out with at just hanging out at Masters, unless they come to Lone Wolf. That's the only time I see them.
it it's a family reunion, is what I like to think of it as. So.
Agreed.
Well, we've been going for an hour, so I want to finish off with what does the rest of your year look like schedule wise? What events you got coming up with, and then any events you want to plug maybe as well before we call it here.
Okay, perfect. My year's pretty much made. I might have some flexibility to add some more. My next event is Lone Wolf, where I'm painting a custom Nurgle army where my team is doing each of the Chaos Gods, and we're doing a giant joint board, which would be cool. I don't know what I'm running them as yet because we don't know the points. After that, my goal is June, July. June's gonna be hard for me to go to a GT because of the FIFA, but I have to work that event. But I would like to go to the Capital City Clash. I've won that Austin GT, and last year was the year I didn't go because of work. That was on my anniversary weekend, and I got a text from everyone going, "Say, hey, you're not coming? Oh, good, I could win it." And I was because they had added that extra sentence. I was like, "Oh, I need it now. I have to go next year." And
There you go.
obviously, Masters. We're gonna take the battle bus again, hopefully, and
Nice.
I know. And then after that, I would like to go to out of region, but I have some family stuff that if it depends on if I could go. After that, it would be Dojo, which is in by Dallas Fort Worth area. That's in September. Then I have for sure Alamo in November. And
Nice.
then I think after that, it's Naughty or Nice if I could get off. I'd like to go to that one. I didn't make it this year, and that's the year y'all attended.
Travis
So
and I did come down, and because you weren't there, we took home the trophies. If
well,
maybe
no,
you were there,
you wailed on my boy, it's pretty bad. So I was like
I
this. I co
yeah,
yeah,
I
no, I heard, and I was like, man, I was so upset that I couldn't go.
about halfway through the game, I threatened them with the good old. I'm gonna have to tell Dustin about what you guys just did here, right?
Yeah, I bet you they had something to say about that too. Like, oh man.
Yeah, they're like, oh, geez, really? Oh, God, no.
Yeah,
So,
I'm relentless when someone comes to my house and says they want to get better. I was like, okay, just remember you said that. They will get
hmm
better though, and I'm very proud of those two especially. Um, Other than that, then I have Bayou, which is the one I promote because obviously we just played it, and that's Clubmates, and that's in January in Houston. Obviously, I like that one a lot too. Texas has some really good GTs, obviously. I hope they bring back Key and the Monsters. I like Dylan a lot. And I went twice, won twice, but that's because he allowed me to have another monster. And I always like painting monsters. So
yep.
that's kind of like my calling card. But the ones I want to attend, I would love to go back to TNT. I had a blast there. I would like to go to Riddle of Steel, but obviously I couldn't because of just life. And Bug Eater, I've been wanting to go to y'all's event for so many years now. And this is the
Yeah.
first year that it's not near my anniversary, but I think I might have to work at the World Cup thing.
All right.
So we'll
Well,
see. Those are other regions. Also, I like that. You might know that Mid Atlantic has a GT, and you have a team.
no, that's
I think is it or
Northeast.
Northeast.
Northeast
Yeah,
Crossroads GT. Corey Reynolds runs that one.
every time I meet Corey, I have a great time with hanging out with Corey, and I wanted to do that as take like a Texan invasion force like we did at TNT that one year.
Yeah.
So
You just like what I did. I rallied up some boys from the mountain and Midwest, and we went over and did our thing one year. We haven't been able to repeat it, but it's a good
well,
time, man. I think it
if
would be
if,
great
if
if we got 4 Texans to go to.
hey, if I can't get 4 Texans, we'll get you, Travis, me, and I'll get Pat or one of my ringers down here, and
There
we'll
you go.
we'll go. We'll have 2 Masters on our team and 2 Paragons. I like it.
There we go. That could be something. We could
I don't
make
know.
something like that happen. We'll see.
I bet we can. I'll talk to. We'll have me and Radigan, you and Travis. That'd be an invasion
Oh
force
God.
right there.
Oh Jesus.
You
What do
know.
we call that team even? Because you got to have a good team name, otherwise you don't even make the team at that point, right? Like,
Oh, of course. That's I leave that to my NASA engineer partner.
okay,
So,
okay. We'll open it
because
up to the
mine would be awful
comments
good death.
too. We'll let some
Yeah,
people comment on that. If you guys have a good team name for Super Beast, Jeff Radigan, Adam, and Travis, give it to us in the comments. All the
they'll be
dick and
fantastic.
ball jokes, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Please.
yeah, pretty much.
Awesome. Well, we've been talking everybody's ear off, so I think it's time to call it quits here. Dustin, thank you again. It was awesome talking with you about fourth and everything. I really enjoyed it. I hope everybody else does too.
Always a pleasure talking to you, and I will see you in a few months. So,
Yes, sir. Catch you next time.
later, buddy.